Hiya, how's it going everybody? Hope your holiday break went well. I just had an essay deadline due in a week after New Year's, which is absolutely barbaric. But that's alright, because now it's time for some more fun. This top 10 cosplays is actually going to be part 1 of 2. I received so many genuinely amazing submissions from people creating famous figures and characters and then making and putting them into Dark Souls 3 that I can actually do 2 top 10 cosplay lists. So basically 20 cosplays split into 2 videos. 'Tis the season for extravagance. So let's begin this video at number 10. Hannibal has created Zorro, a fictional character from the film The Mask of Zorro, played by Antonio Banderas. In the film, here's the famous Z cut, made with 3 strokes of a rapier. And he's replicated it in Dark Souls 3 with the S-top, which is very cool. Additionally, Zorro's wide sombrero hat and his black clothing with a long cape has been copied. And then of course the S-top represents his favourite rapier, and the whip replaces the bullwhip. The gesture in the game called Buy My Sword was also used here, and it works really well with this cosplay, as it's similar to his well-known rearing horse pose. At number 9 we have Lady on Fire, who's partnered up and made She-Hulk and Incredible Hulk in the Road of Sacrifices. Now these 2 are fictional characters owned by Marvel Comics. I'm sure everyone knows them. The Hulk is the huge raging green monster and has an alter ego in the form of Bruce Banner, and in the story of She-Hulk is that she received a blood transfusion from Bruce Banner, which led to her acquiring the transforming condition. Or something like that anyway. The majority of this cosplay was clearly made in the character creation. The green skin is clearly the most recognisable feature. I do think it would have been cool to showcase the transformation from their weak human state into the powerful Hulk forms. You know, you could have created a little story about them getting angry with invaders or something, and the invaders triggering them into their Hulk form. But even so, this was a great idea. Some nice teamwork, and even your annotations remind me of the writing style in the old comics.
Nice!
Moving on to number 8, we have Lurtz, the Uruk-hai from Lord of the Rings. In the character creation menus, he's designed the skin reddish brown and then cleverly put the white hand of Saruman on his face using the tattoo feature. To complete the orc appearance, his armour and weapons include the falchion, the dragon rider bow and Morn's armour. And of course the location he's fighting in is the Road of Sacrifices, which looks very similar to the location in the film where this orc attacks Boromir. I think it works surprisingly well because of course you can go hollow in the game, which as an orc looks great. What you're looking at now is Boba Fett, a bounty hunter from the Star Wars universe. You just saw the Javelin replacing his blaster and Fire Surge replacing his flamethrower. Basically he has a lot of useful gadgets which make him a very strong force to reckon with. I do like the forearm helmet on this build as well. It definitely does resemble the Mandalorian helmet that Boba Fett uses. And finally, I do like how it ends with him messing up and slipping to his death. Quite similar to how Boba Fett dies, one could say. Zet has decided to make a character from Dota 2, which is a multiplayer battle arena game. It's very popular, and the character he's remade is simply called Axe, I believe. A melee-focused strength hero who definitely seems to be an aggressive warrior, always on the front lines. He has a huge axe, shocking, I know, and you'll notice his armour doesn't cover much of his upper body. So for that, he's used the Dragon Slayer Great Axe and the revealing Master's Attire. Basically, he crushes people into the floor. Next up, Corny has made a King Lyric cosplay, which is a boss that you encounter very early on in Diablo 3 in the Crypt of the Skeleton King. Now you see he's tried to emulate some of his moves. Firstly, he uses Drain Hope to siphon health from enemies. Corny, of course, uses the Dark Hand for this purpose. King Lyric also has a Wraith Walk attack, where he kneels down and sends out a fast-moving Wraith. When this walk finishes, Lyric jumps to its position. Corny does this attack in Dark Souls 3 by using the Darkmoon loyalty gesture to kneel down, and then quickly rolling using the Carthus Milk Ring to get that invisible Wraith effect. That's pretty creative, and then aside from that, he's using Vort's Great Hammer, Gundir's armor, and Wolnir's crown for that kingly status. This was a well-designed, focused cosplay. I like the subtle things added in as well. For example, King Lyric, I hope that's how you say his name, he's also known as the Mad King. So Corny joined the Purple Mound Makers because it's also referred to as the Mad Covenant. Nice little detail there. We're back in Star Wars, this time recreating the epic Obi-Wan vs Anakin scene from Episode 3. These two are using sorcerer robes and clandestine coat to imitate the Jedi robes with pale resins on katanas for the lightsabers. Also they have the Emit Force and Force Miracle, pretty self-explanatory. But what I really like is the setting they chose, a fiery lava-filled area that actually looks relatively similar to the setting of the film. The fight was well planned, well choreographed, and of course ends with Obi-Wan kicking some ass. For number 3, White Valria has spent a lot of time making this video and cosplay. This one is the assassin, Ezio, inspired by the events in Assassin's Creed 2 after the death of Ezio's brothers.
Best. May it never change.
And may it never change us.
This one is really good. In this clip he showcases the character creation sliders, he goes through the whole process, and then followed by a detailed look at his weapons and armor. I have to say I was actually very impressed with the quality of this submission, especially the editing and planning. What he ends up doing next is reenacts a sequence from Assassin's Creed 2, specifically Ezio taking revenge on Alberti, which requires him of course to take out his bodyguards first.
To the entrance. Don't let him see you. Wait for my command.
I shortened that sequence quite a bit, but I do recommend checking out the full version on his channel. It's a great cosplay, and more than that, it's just a great video. At number 2, we have a Bloodborne cosplay. I wasn't accepting Souls cosplays, but Bloodborne works fine. And in this case, Mr. Steal Your Humanity, great name, he has remade Simon the Harrow, an NPC that was added in with the Old Hunters DLC. You can see for yourself, he's found some weapons and armor that are incredibly similar in appearance and function. The old Sage's blindfold, for example, matches the hood Simon has over his eyes pretty closely. Now clearly Simon can of course fire his bow a bit faster, but their special attacks essentially look the same. Now as cool as this cosplay is, I think this clip of him using it is actually a lot better. He's just been invaded at the painted world of Ariamis Bridge, and it's about to go down. So yeah, apparently standing at just the right spot on the bridge when it falls with the silver cat ring on allows you to survive. Impressive. And taking the #1 spot here is Kaleo, and this one is creative, there's no denying it. It's also just quite funny though. He's cosplaying as a Pokemon trainer, but taking it to another level by getting his friends involved and having them dress up and cosplay as various Pokemon, including Pikachu, Cubone, Charmeleon, Rattata and Beedrill. So how this worked is Kaleo, the Ashen one, see what I did there? He summoned his friends and then a dark spirit to duel. He then throws a firebomb into the arena, which is meant to be like throwing a Pokeball, of course, signaling one of his Pokemon to fight. Once that Pokemon dies, the next one would roll in. I think the submission was great. Group cosplays always require a lot more time and coordination. You know, everyone would have had to colour their characters and their character creation and get the necessary equipment. Overall, it's just a really creative and fun idea. It's just a more fun way of doing a fight club, isn't it? I've actually only played the recent Pokemon Go game on mobile. Got to level 26 though. Yeah, I can definitely appreciate this. What I want to see now, what I think would work well, is 2 Pokemon trainers with a squad of Pokemon cosplays battling out in the new arena. I think that'd be great. The next top 10 is going to be epic fails. So if you've made any hilarious mistakes or had very unlucky things happen to you, PvP or PvE, send them in to me. Instructions on how to submit are below as always. Now remember that I've made 2 top 10 cosplays this week, because everyone seems to really enjoy the creative aspect of this topic. Many people get involved, so I made a part 2. A second top 10 cosplays, which is linked here on the screen now. If you can't click on it, it means it's not out yet, but it should be out in a couple days to a week maximum. Thanks to everyone who submitted clips and watched this video. I appreciate the support a lot, and I will see you in a bit.